Before we start, if you're new here and enjoy the video, be sure to subscribe for more NBA content like this. I'm trying to hit 9,000 subscribers by July, so all support would be greatly appreciated. Be sure to leave a like as well, it really does go a long way. Paul George is one of the NBA's top star players and has been pretty much a top 10 player these last few seasons, well, at least until his injury last year. He's been a big reason as to why the Clippers have been such a dominant team this season, and I think he's going to play a big part in their potential deep playoff run. However, a narrative and myth that has been prominent about Paul George these last few years is his apparent inability to perform in the NBA playoffs, which I personally believe is a load of BS. So, in today's video, I'm going to debunk the biggest lie told about Paul George and show you why he is in fact a good, if not great, playoff performer. Again, if you're new here and enjoy the video, be sure to subscribe for more NBA content like this, but with that all being said, let's talk about Paul George.
Lucas.
Paul George has been at his peak these last few seasons. In 2017, Paul George played his final season with Indiana before requesting a trade due to limited success there, and he averaged close to 24 points per game to finish off his stint there. He would go to OKC in that off-season to pair up with Westbrook and Carmelo Anthony, where he'd averaged 22 points per game in his first season there. However, that OKC squad heavily disappointed that season and were even knocked out in the first round by a rookie Donovan Mitchell-led Utah Jazz, which I will go over in a bit. The Thunder made some minor moves that off-season, ditching Melo and allowing PG to take over the first option role. This was a fantastic idea, as Paul George had an MVP level season and had the best year of his career, averaging 28 points a game. Unfortunately, OKC would yet again fail to have any major success past the regular season, getting knocked out in the first round yet again. Paul George realized that off-season that maybe Oklahoma City wasn't the best place for him to find success, so he requested a trade to join Kawhi Leonard in LA. His wish was granted, and now this leaves us with where we are today. 8 games out from the playoffs, the Clippers hold the second seed in the West, and Paul George is dropping 21 points a game. However, many believe his impact is going to significantly drop in the playoffs, and these people think this due to his poor playoff history, where he allegedly has choked in the playoffs before. This is a completely incorrect notion, and I'm going to prove to you why. Most people bring up the series against the Utah Jazz in round 1 from 2018 as a starting point for this debate, so I'm going to look at that first. Of course, PG had that unacceptable Game 6 performance against Utah in that series, and that was the game the Thunder were eliminated, as he scored an awful 5 points on 2 for 16 shooting from the field. However, what most people forget is that, up until Game 6, Paul George was averaging 28.6 points and 6.6 rebounds per game and was shooting extremely efficiently through Games 1 to 5. But all that he's remembered for in that series is Game 6. If we go back to 2017, in the first round series against the Cleveland Cavaliers, Paul George was popping off, averaging over 32 points per game, close to 10 rebounds and 8 assists, and was yet again shooting extremely efficiently. However, all people seem to bring up in that series is that in Game 4, the game that eliminated the Pacers from the playoffs, PG had an inefficient game, shooting 5 for 21 from the field, and they look over the fact that the reason why all the games in that series were so close to begin with, regardless of the sweep, was because of PG's phenomenal play. Now, let's look at last year. The OKC vs Portland series will obviously go down in history due to Lillard's insane buzzer beater in Game 5. But the general consensus with that series is that OKC played poorly and disappointed everyone. However, many like to bring up the fact that Paul George wasn't himself due to his shoulder injury he suffered earlier in the season. And though I somewhat agree with that notion, I think Paul George proved otherwise. In this series vs Portland, Paul George was phenomenal, averaging 28.6 points per game, 8.6 rebounds and 4 assists on efficient shooting from the field. And in Game 5, where the Thunder were eliminated, he did everything he could to get the Thunder a potential win. He scored 36 points, grabbed 9 boards, and shot 14 for 20 from the field in that game. And another thing I would like to point out, many people view Damian Lillard as one of the premier playoff performers in the league currently. But compared to Paul George, someone who isn't seen as one of those top playoff performers, their stats are actually very similar. In the playoffs from 2015 to 2019, Lillard averaged 25 points, 5 rebounds, and 6 assists per game. Paul George from 2015 to 19 in the playoffs averaged 27 points, 8 rebounds, and 4 assists. Basically, what I'm trying to show you today is that, though many people say that Paul George is a playoff choker, a poor playoff performer, he's actually not. Not many NBA players can call themselves a great playoff player besides the greats like LeBron, KD, Curry, Kawhi, etc. But this should not mean we disrespect a player like Paul George. Sure, he's had a few questionable playoff performances in his career where he's arguably choked, but so have players like LeBron and Curry, and that shouldn't cloud the fact that apart from those few games, he's actually been really good. Overall, what I'm basically trying to say here is that people say that Paul George is a bad playoff performer, and it's why his nickname, Playoff P, is constantly made fun of. However, that is simply not the case, and Paul George is actually quite a good playoff performer, albeit not a great one, but not a bad one like many people try to make a case for, and I think I have proved that enough today. Sure, he's had a bad game every now and then, but 95% of the time, Paul George has delivered in the playoffs, and for those that believe he's a playoff choker, hopefully I've proved to you why he is not today. And that will conclude the video. What do you guys think of this? Do you agree with me on this, or do you still believe Paul George underperforms in the playoffs? How far will the Clippers go this season with him in your opinion? Let me know all your thoughts down in the comments below. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to drop it a like and subscribe. But with that being said, I am out. Peace.
Can't wait till the man them prosper. But draw ups happening too, got the man them doing up Didier Drogba. He was out here looking for clout and he had to sign out, so we did him up proper. Shells that's copper, just don't copper. Me and the guys might rob ya. Like, should I invest in dirty? But wait, can I even flip that? And I took so many damn L's this year, so fuck that, I ain't gonna risk that. Burnt bridge for the bread, lost two friends if I see tryna